Hey guys, hope you're having an amazing weekend. Today's episode is covering it's why it's not about the substance, it's about the mental health and behavior surrounding the substance. Hope you enjoy. One of the main common questions I get, or the main reaction I get when I share my story, one of the top questions that people are like, you don't even drink or smoke alcohol. Smoke alcohol. You don't even drink or smoke pot. And the answer is no. And quite frankly, guys, it doesn't matter what substance you did, or what substance I did. It's all the same. So whether it's heroin or whether it's pot or whether it's triple C's or whether it's Robitussin or whether it's cocaine or ecstasy or acid or whatever the case may be, it's all the fucking same, right? And I want to help drive that point home, is that it's not what the chemical does, as far as what it makes you see, what it makes you, if it's a downer, if it's upper, if it's a psychedelic, if it's a this, it all leads to the same point. It all leads to the same road. It all has the same end, right? We either, people like me, regardless of what we did, end up in jails, institutions, or death. And that's unless we find a solution to get better, right? And that's the sad and cold hard truth of drug addicts, and alcoholics, and it's fucking sad. I had to bury a friend, one of my greatest friends, on the entire planet. Had to bury him last month because he couldn't, because he just couldn't seem to get it. He couldn't live with it. He couldn't live without it. And the point is that heroin does the same thing that pot does, right? For a drug addict at its very core, to keep it very simple, is that drug addicts and alcoholics are not okay with the way they are. That's it. We can go into a lot of the sciences, a lot of the explanations, a lot of this, a lot of that, but the reality is that we are not okay with who we are, and we feel a void that's extremely empty that nothing can fill it, right? And we'll use any sort of substance, whether that's pot, whether that's women, whether it's gambling, whether it's shit, even people working out at the gym and just aren't okay if they're not at the gym, and same thing with work. If you're a workaholic, it's the same, it's the same shit, right? And so what it all does is it helps us fill that void to where we don't have to look at anything ourselves. We don't have to address any of the issues. We don't have to deal with growing up, because for whatever reason, we're not okay in our own skin. I'll say it again, we're not okay in our own skin. And believe me, there's so many different ways that I've tried to solve for that, but here's the deal. Substances were the only thing that provided a sufficient solution for me. They're the only substance that were a solution to the way I felt, yet paradoxically was the biggest problem in my life that tore everything down. That's why when it comes to, when people ask you, or when people ask me, why can't you just get sober? Why can't you do this? Don't you love your family? And don't you do this? And it's yes, but do you have a sufficient substitute? Guys, whether it's pot, whether it's heroin, do you have a sufficient substitute? No, just don't smoke pot. You're telling me to take away the only solution that has actually worked for me. Right? Think about that. Think about the one vice, or think about some vices that you have that are solving problems for you, that are solutioning for you, and someone's trying to take that away. It's a very tough predicament, guys, because we destroy everything around us, and we destroy our families, we destroy our friends, we destroy careers, we destroy everything. We're like a tornado, and God help the people that try to get in our way, because regardless of who it is, it doesn't matter. When you're that convinced, and when the solution runs that far deep, it doesn't matter if it's your mother, it doesn't matter if it's a random stranger. No one is going to stop that person. No one could stop me. And the shitty part was that I felt horrible. I felt bad. I didn't enjoy saying some of the things I did to my family. I didn't enjoy stealing. I didn't enjoy, making 7-hour trips with felony substances in my car. I didn't enjoy being dope sick. I didn't enjoy any of this, right? But guess what? That was the only solution that I had been able to find that worked for me. And by solution, I mean it fixed internally what was always missing. And it's hard to really put that into words because it was like a spiritual experience the first time I tried smoking pot, first time I smoked pot. I just remember saying to myself, I'm never not going to feel like this for the rest of my life. And so that's why you see a lot of drug addicts, number one, fail, and failure in our world typically means, a lot of times it means death. And we just can't, some people just can't get it, and that is the like tremendously sad portion of this, of this disease, but that's why there's such a resistance and such a low, success rate, because, guys, you're asking someone to give up their entire thing that's worked for them internally, and they can't see what it's doing externally. Until a certain point, until it gets to the point where, the way you're living just becomes completely objectionable. And that's why it took me so long to get sober, and that's why it takes some people years. You'll hear people say, I hear people in the room say all the time, like, I've been trying to get this since 1996, but I've been sober for the past 13 years. I mean, do the math. It's a very tough deal, and to be clear, like, what has worked for me has been a 12-step program. And what really all these things are there to do is to enable me to get in touch with a power that's able to recreate my life. It's nothing religious. It's nothing this. It's based on spiritual principles and spiritual laws, right? And that's really all it is. And it's my own conception of what it looks like. So if you're looking at someone and you're just like, why can't they just stop smoking pot, or why can't they do this, or why can't they do that? It's not that they, like, a lot of times it's not that they want to, but that's the only way, that life seems to be the only normal way for them. Right. And it's not, if you're getting well, if you're in sobriety, if you're in a drug addiction, people have pot addictions. People have addictions to over-the-counter prescription or over-the-counter meds like, triple C's and Robitussin that tend to abuse the shit out of it. Guys, it's all the mental thought process, the actions, and the way we feel that binds us together, that binds drug addicts and alcoholics together. That's why me, a heroin addict, and an alcoholic have so much more in common than we care to admit, than we'd even know. Because it's not about the substance, it's about how we thought, about how we used, and about how we felt, and about what that substance did for those feelings. Because, guys, it's the same story no matter what person you've spoken to. When they come through the door, they got some unique ass situation that they think no one else has been through before, but yet everyone in the entire room has all done the same, has all participated in the same story. It may look slightly different, but it's all the same story. Like, the externals may look different, but the thought process, the internal, downward spiral, the external downward spiral, it's all the fucking same, and so we need to stop looking at, the substance and start looking at the mental health and start looking at the disease of addiction and how we do it and how we help it. Am I saying that the 12 steps are the only way to do it? Absolutely not. But guess what, guys? It's the only way that's worked for me, and I get to live a life beyond my wildest dreams. Like, the amount of freedom that I have, the sense of comfort that I have, the sense of being okay that I have is all I was searching for in the beginning. Guys, it's not that people wake up and want to be a drug addict. It's not that people wake up and want to be a serial killer. It's not people that wake up and want to do this. It's like there's a story behind it. People don't just wake up like this. So we need to stop taking a look at, like, punishing people and looking at how we can help them. Am I saying that people don't need to be punished for their actions? No. I didn't steal. Like, if I stole, it's because I'm a thief, not because I'm a drug addict. And so this has been the only way that works for me, and has been the only way that has given me the same amount of freedom that I once sought. And the way of life that I live, it requires a lot of self-seeking, like searching inward, a lot of inventory writing, a lot of praying, a lot of helping other people, but guess what, guys? The amount that this asks of me, what this asks of me is nothing. And I say nothing, not even a fraction of what dope and alcohol asked of me to do. The actions I take today provide me freedom and allow me to get closer to this universe and get closer to its people. By sharing the message that was shared to me and not my own message. It's this message plus my story surrounding it, right? It's what happened, what it was like, and what it's like now. Guys, and the longer I stay sober, there's a lot more on the scale of what it's like now versus what it used to be. It's not so much focusing on the problem versus focusing on the solution. Is the problem important to talk about? Yep, but is the solution to how we get better more important? Fucking absolutely. Right? And so I know I kind of went off on a tangent there, but the point to drive this home is that, stop looking at the substance, stop looking at, stop looking at the substance and start looking at the behavior surrounding it. It's the mental health and the behavior surrounding it. And guys, I always keep myself open to direct messages, to Discord phone calls, to all these things, because I believe that I've been put on this purpose to help people, and someone shared their story with me for free. It didn't cost them a dime, and so for that, I'm eternally grateful, and so that's what I continue to do here and I hope you guys are getting a lot of value out of this as far as learning about what defines a drug addict, what doesn't, all the stories surrounding, all the lessons, all the everything, so I really appreciate you listening, and you'll have an amazing week. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed today's episode. It would really mean the world if you did like and subscribe and share this podcast to someone who maybe is either battling with drug addiction, hasn't seemed to get it, or if it's just someone you think that would get some value out of what I'm saying here. Also, for other extra avenues, other forms of content, I am extremely passionate about video games, and I am starting to compete at a high level in esports. So it would mean the world if you at least checked out my Twitch page, twitch.tv/Boonafide Gaming. I'm also on all other social networks, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I look forward to tomorrow's episode, and you have an amazing, amazing weekend.